Welcome, absolutely everyone, to Broken Gaming. I'm your co-host, Shea.
I'm your other co-host, Dan. And hey, Shea, what have you been playing recently?
Well, Dan, because of the lengthy layoff we've had after we canceled last month's episode, RIP to January.
Oh, yeah. I guess I forgot that we did do that. Hi. Yeah, we skipped a month.
Yeah.
A lot of shit going on that we just didn't feel like. I didn't play a lot of games. Shay didn't play a lot of games. We had technical issues and like.
I had so many games to talk about.
Oh,
you just
I
had
didn't play a lot of games. I just had Yakuza. But also, like, we live in a country that's both literally and metaphorically on fire. So I didn't feel like recording last month. So I apologize. But yeah, anyway, what have you been playing, Shay?
Well, Dan, I'm going to get this one out of the way because I told you before we started recording, and I should have saved it for the big reveal on mic. But I picked up the anniversary edition of Skyrim in a Steam sale this week.
Yeah. Okay, let's How much did you pay for it?
It was like $8 or something like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not. Especially because that game still goes for fucking $60. $60 in the year of our Lord 2025 for the anniversary edition of Skyrim.
And
which, by the way, like the big selling point for that version of the game is fucking community creations. So like half the shit is not stuff that Bethesda made.
Yeah,
I just don't like. I know.
Okay.
And you called me on this when I brought it up, but I realized that I'm part of the problem in the delay of Elder Scrolls 6 because I keep fucking buying this game.
Yeah, you may not even be part of the problem. You might be the whole problem.
I might be the whole problem. They're like, well, Shay's pretty satisfied with Skyrim, so maybe we don't ever have to make another one.
Yep. Todd just has like a digital board in his office where every time one gets sold, it like ticks a box, and they add another week onto the release schedule for Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, this dumb fuck Shea in Fiji keeps buying it for every console they own, so why would we need to
they've bought it in so many countries even.
Right.
How many times have you purchased this game?
Oh, God.
What's the total now?
Oh, let's see. All right.
Let's go console by console.
Yeah, no, I have it for... What do I have it for? I bought it first for the 360.
Mm-hmm.
Then I bought it again for the PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then I bought it... Did I buy it for the X? I don't think I bought it for the X, but I bought it for Steam Deck. I bought it for the Switch.
Oh, so we've hit all four major companies, too. Like, it's not like Nintendo got their cut, Sony got their cut.
Listen, I'm an equal opportunity sucker.
That's fine, man. Well, have you started it on there, or did you just purchase it?
For which one?
For the Steam Deck. Well, actually,
Yes.
That's a great question. Did you buy it for anything that you didn't yet play it on?
No,
I've
played it on.
Okay.
I've played it on all four times.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. So there's it's like 4.5 because I bought for the 360. I bought like the regular game because that's all that they had at the time, or all that I knew existed. And then I bought
Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, no, it was like a new release or a new version of the game, but it was like a 10th anniversary upgrade kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
So like 4.5 times I've bought that
No,
game.
that's 5. That's just straight up 5.
I didn't buy a new copy of the game. It was like a graphics update or upgrade or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much you paid for a graphics update?
Whatever they wanted, Dan.
Yeah, that's
whatever
fair.
they wanted.
They had you over a barrel. What could you say? That's amazing. All right. Man. Okay. So if you tried it on the Steam Deck, is there any sort of noticeable differences, or is it just the game that you love on a
It's a
more
game that I love,
portable
man.
platform.
It's the game that I love.
Yeah.
Just a smaller screen. That's all.
Yep. Not a great selling point, but you can play it portable. Outside of that, what else have you been playing?
All right. So I have been playing a game. I've been playing NHL 25. We'll start there because I can just skate past that one. No pun intended.
Waka waka.
Me and my partner picked the franchise that I was going to play together, and they thought it would be funny if I picked the franchise that made the least amount of money. So I'm currently playing with the Calgary Flames, which
Let's go.
They're not very good. Like day one of having the franchise, I had to trade a goalie and a second. I think it was a second round pick to get a goalie that would like be serviceable for me. So great start there.
Can I ask a question as a non-sports in general person? Is that true of the actual team? Like, is their goalie dog shit? Like, of the actual Flames?
No, they have a really good rookie goalie.
Okay.
Who's been playing very well, but he's a rookie in the game, and because the game is based on numbers and
that's interesting.
Heart and performance, he's not quite as good. Like, his rating is not quite as good as you would think,
he actually
given
plays,
his real life performance. But I was saying to my partner the other day, I was looking at a box score for a Calgary Flames game, and I was just looking at the actual roster. Like, I mean, I haven't. So in addition to trading for a competent goalie day one of having the franchise, I also my compromise for taking over this dog shit team was that I made my own character, my own player to put on the Flames. He's not like a superstar or anything like that, but he's like a high 80s rated winger who just shoots, who just scores goals. Like, that's his whole thing, is goal scoring, excellent slap shot, terrific wrist shot, all the shit.
Yeah. I don't find it fun in sports related games to be like a complete blowout character. Like, when I do play the NBA games, like, I end up finding the thing that my guy's good at, like, based on the build, and I'm like, I'm just dunks all day long.
Chucking him up.
Yeah.
This from the guy who scored like 121 points. 121 points in a game.
Yeah.
3 times.
But that was all just completely just rushing the basket every time, just dunking on people. Because that's what I made my build. I'm terrible at other things. Like, my rebound game was good. I had no outside shot whatsoever.
Oh man, when I play those games, I make a guard who like just stands outside and can play a little bit of defense.
Yeah.
I just throw up threes and don't even go for rebounds.
I mean, none of them are well, I can't say that. Like, I'm sure there are players that do fit exactly the molds that we're building, but yeah, why? Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's Steph Curry, to be honest with you. What I just described.
It's honestly Steph Curry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, Klay Thompson at this point in his career.
But so your guy's not. So it's all just slap shots. Like, is it like good from any angle, or like, because I don't really understand. I know hockey well enough to know that, like, you kind of can score from just about anywhere on that side of the net, but like,
yeah, I would say for the most part, he's either scoring a goal or inducing a highlight reel save from the other team's goalie most of the time.
On.
So he's also very fragile. So if anybody bumps him, he like goes flying.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
A featherweight hockey player. I love it.
Right. Yeah. He's got to shoot the puck within 2 seconds of getting it, or else he's going to die.
Yeah. That's very fun.
Yeah. So just to give you an idea of like how that season's going, my created goal scorer is second on the team in goals, and we lose a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I have, so my best defenseman is probably like a third best defenseman on a real team, and it shows. It fucking shows in the game.
Hell yeah. Love it.
So anyway, that's NHL 25. I did go out and trade for my favorite Flyers player, because why not? So anyway, Morgan Frost is now a Calgary Flame. And you'll never believe this, Dan. After the performance of my team, there's like a little, you can sign an extension with a player in the middle of the season if it's like their last year of their contract. You can negotiate that with them. However, what's that?
Did he decline?
He didn't decline it, Dan, because he was not interested in even negotiating a contract.
Oh, that's amazing.
I have to look.
Real city.
Yeah, get me the fuck out of Calgary.
Lance Storm is somewhere just shaking his head.
Right. Yeah. I have to check the rules. I actually don't think he's, because I traded for him in the season, I don't think he's allowed to negotiate a contract extension until the summer. But
okay.
The option, whether it's because of that rule or because he doesn't want to fucking stay here, I can't talk to him about a contract extension right now.
I love this so much. I love this. I wish it could be even more real, where you just like send like a bunch of roughnecks to his house and be like, hey, so heard you don't want to have
the boss
any
is looking for you.
Yeah. He's out for 6 whole games with a broken kneecap.
Right.
That's amazing. I love this.
Oh, it's so good.
That sounds like that Bloodsport hockey thing that we played, whatever that was called. The
Super Blood Hockey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta get back into that game. I love it.
It was so fun. Game. We should get back into it.
Oh, but yeah, that's been NHL 25. I've rage quit that game so many times playing the franchise mode because I'm just like, another soft goal given up by my dog shit goalie, because this was who I could upgrade to with my original dog shit goalie.
Incredible.
Anyway, I've been playing a game called Sovereign Syndicate, which I think is going to end up being very cool, but it's been very like story heavy and lore heavy. It's like do you remember The Wolf Among Us?
Yeah.
So like if you took The Wolf Among Us and set it in like a steampunk world, that's kind of like the setting for Sovereign Syndicate. Like there's like minotaurs are just like a species in this planet that walk among humans and elves and dwarves. There's magic and machines, which is very cool. But basically, the character that I play is an alcoholic private eye. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Down on his luck, picked up by some mysterious patron who wants to hire his services. And I bought it because I looked up, I forget what the tag was exactly, but it was like party-based RPGs. And I think eventually we get to that. But right now it really plays very similarly to Disco Elysium, where like it's all dialogue options right now, and I'm building certain flaws, I would say.
It actually sounds a lot like the first Shadowrun game. Not the
yes
Weirdo Tactics one that we played, but like the old SNES one that came out.
Yeah.
Like, because they also had like ogres and shit, or whatever the fair use version of that is. Whichever one the Tolkien estate doesn't have rights to. That's what that feels like. That is very reminiscent of that. Even like kind of like in a way the setup a little bit. Yeah. But that's cool. So it's much less stressful. What the rest of the gameplay is, or is it all like does it actually play like Wolf Among Us, where it is like QTEs and dialogue?
Don't think so. I'm getting the feeling that it's going to be mostly dialogue, but from what I understand from screen grabs and trailers and shit, it's like a tactical turn-based RPG.
Okay, so like the new Shadowrun.
As far as combat is concerned. Yeah, correct, yes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So someone made their own Shadowrun. Yeah.
Why did I pick this up? Hold on a second. I think we talked about a game that this studio made. Crimson Herring. That sounds familiar.
Crimson Herring?
Yeah, Crimson Herring Studios. Oh, nope. This is the only
Great
game that
name.
they made.
That's a great name.
Right?
I like that a lot.
Yeah, no, this is the only game that they've made. But hey, it's good so far. It's far less stressful than Disco Elysium was for me to play.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to talk about two very big games that I didn't play a whole lot yet.
Okay.
And then I will launch into the... I didn't think I'd talk about NHL 25 as much as I did, but here we are.
Cool with it.
So I played, as promised, I guess, in our last episode, I have played Dragon's Dogma 2 a little bit. Oh man, it is a gorgeous game. I'm gonna start with that. They really pushed the boundaries of what their engine could do. Right. That being said, I don't feel that they made any changes to gameplay from the first one, and what they did instead was made the characters talk more like medieval people with the thous and thys. Cool. Let me tell you, if there's something I hate in a video game, it's people talking like they're medieval characters. And it's one thing if it's in a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance, where it's a medieval setting, but like this is a fantasy world.
Yeah.
With portals and shit. And not that I'm saying that like medieval speech is like a indicator of like lesser intelligence or anything like that.
No,
but
you are saying that, and I support it.
I just feel like in a world with magic and portals and shit like that, where you can literally summon living human beings from the fucking air to serve you in battle and who will die for you willingly, I think that maybe we can do away with the word thou forever, maybe. So that's my stance on that.
That's fair. There's one piece of information that I know about this game that I don't know if it's why it feels like the gameplay hasn't expanded, but I don't know enough about it to speak intelligently about what I know. Nor did I play the first one. So,
well, what's your piece of information that you know, and maybe I know enough about it to...
You have to technically earn it becoming Dragon's Dogma 2. Like, you can get to the credits, and it's still not actually Dragon's Dogma 2. Like, there's like certain parameters that you have to meet, or like a specific event that you have to handle in a certain way to make the title screen for Dragon's Dogma 2 come up.
Well, I don't know about that, so I'm going to cut all of this.
Yeah, that's fine. Outside Xbox had done like a piece, and they said that that's a thing. Like, where they basically hid the sequel within the sequel, and you're not actually playing the sequel until you get to that point, is my understanding.
Okay. Once you get to the sequel, do they take out thou and thy from the rest of the conversation?
Yeah, they all talk like Valley Girls. It's fucking crazy. Like, everybody talks like Shea.
Paris Hilton's the big bad guy.
Nope. It's all Clueless. They're all like characters from Clueless.
Oh my god. Can you imagine if there was a game that existed in the world that had Paris Hilton as like the final boss in it? Wait, hold on. Gotta check now.
Nah, yeah. Like Lollipop Chainsaw or something is gonna have it.
Right. Alright, well this is the AI response that I got from Google. Yes, there is a game where Paris Hilton is the bad guy in the South Park episode, The Death Camp of Tolerance.
I'm gonna flip this table.
Yeah, no, I mean, so first off, that's not a game. It's an episode of television.
Google is so wildly unreliable at this point. It is baffling.
Oh my god, I remember this episode.
Is it the one where Mr. Slave does a thing?
Yeah, where they get
trapped. Say what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
I guess she's in there.
Was it?
All right, well, let's move on from this disgusting topic.
Yep, great.
Let me tell you about Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I started Veilguard, and I like it a lot. But I think mainly that is because it is, I would say, much more accessible to the wider gaming community than even Inquisition was. And I know when we had Aaron on to talk about that, he said that this, like, Inquisition was already like a huge step towards kind of widespread. I don't know what the right word is here. Like, everything that I'm saying
Mass
makes it sound
appeal.
like this is, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I understand both sides of that argument where it's like we want to keep making these games for everybody to like, so we need to make them the most appealing to everyone, but also that's going to cause us to abandon the things that people liked about the other games in the series.
Yeah.
And
Well, making Varric speak like a valley girl was like a huge weird step.
yeah, right? Casting Paris Hilton as Varric was an odd choice.
uh, I don't know, because I found the barrier of entry for the first one a little steep, and I'm a lifelong video gamer. There's just it was the same with The Witcher for me. Things that I think are more suited for PC gaming, I just have a harder time with. Inquisition was probably the easiest one of the ones that I've played to play. So I don't even know if it's from that perspective of like, you need to be able to play it on all platforms. We're going to dumb down a lot of the stuff that makes that would only be accessible on a PC because of like hotkeys and things like that.
Right.
But I think it kind of affects everything. So maybe that's it. Because I think with the Steam Deck, you're not playing with a keyboard. You're playing essentially a controller structure, right?
For most games, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not using hotkeys like I would be in like a true PC experience.
Right. I think outside of MMOs or things of that nature, we're kind of the pendulum swinging back towards what console gaming is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even affecting the PC market. Like, when we do our game night thing, like, we're running on Steam, but we're using Xbox controllers.
Sure.
Like, you could play with a keyboard structure, you could play with a mouse, but it's just, I think right now, easier for just kind of the mass appeal of it to just play with a controller.
Yeah.
And that is going to affect gameplay and versatility and options and everything else.
Yeah. I think my lack of like keyboard agility is part of the reason why I don't care for those games.
Oh yeah, I'm the exact same way.
Yeah. I want to be able to press 9 buttons and then finish playing in an hour if I want to and feel accomplished. Yeah. Not try to like memorize 953 key combinations to feel like a hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I could never be a competition gamer. Like,
no, absolutely not.
I could never do esports. I had been doing some like just casual research on League of Legends because I started watching that Arcane show just because the music is so good.
Girl, no, it's been too many years. Can't get into it now. You're not allowed.
Oh, no. I have no desire to play League of Legends. It's just, I guess I was more interested in like having watched a couple of episodes of Arcane. I'm like, wait, I didn't think this game was like really a story in this way. Like, I guess it was, in what way does the plot relate to what the game itself is? Mm-hmm. And from the limited amount of research I allowed myself to do, it's non-existent. Like,
yeah,
it's just kind of set in that world, and that's fine. And 21 Pilots wrote a banger of a song for that show, and that's the only reason I was watching it.
They sure fucking did, man.
The line is so good. It's like one of my favorite songs right now. I love it so much. Yeah. But no, like, all the music in that show is good. So I was like, I've never really paid attention to League of Legends. Let me look into this a little bit. Yeah. And there's no way I could play it. I know there's no way I could play it. I don't like games of that structure, but the barrier for entry for that kind of thing, especially this deep into the run, is so high.
Yeah, I mean, MMOs are, especially old ones like League of Legends, are notorious for that. and like really toxic fan bases, in the sense that like, yeah, you guys grew up playing this, but that doesn't mean that you have to make it impossible for somebody day one in year 25, for example, is going to quit the game in a week and a half, you know?
Yeah, 100%. But back to Veilguard. So
Yeah.
what are you liking about it so far?
It's combat's much easier, I think. They kind of did it, and I don't know that this is a good thing, because I think this is like what set it apart from other games of its kind, but like they took away that like tactician mode that they had in Inquisition, where you could like freeze the battlefield and like set people up to do certain things, kind of maneuver. It's very much, it's kind of like a hack and slash now, a little bit. It's much more button mashy for sure than
Are
Inquisition was.
companions much more like AI driven? Because I have a feeling that we're gonna move in that direction more and more as time
Oh yeah,
goes on.
buddy. Oh yeah. That's around the corner. I think if the development cycle for this game hadn't started 15 fucking years ago or whatever, it would be even more so in this one. But
Yeah.
yeah, you actually don't. I don't think you. And I should say, preface all. Well, not preface, I guess, since I'm halfway through talking about it. But I guess I should say at this point that I also have not played a whole lot of this game, so I'm still kind of in the like, these are the mechanics of the game stage of the storyline so far. But from what I can gather, like, you don't really have a whole lot of control over your companions at all. Like, you can tell them to use certain skills, but beyond that, like in Inquisition, like, you could take control of whoever you wanted to take control of and just play as them for a little while if you wanted. I don't know that you can do that in this game, at least not where I'm at right now. I mean, that may just be because they spent clearly a lot of money on the character creation portion of this game, so that like, you're gonna be this fucking character and you're gonna like it.
For sure.
But like, it's, I don't know, it feels more like a Chosen One story, in the sense that like, you feel pretty locked in to the protagonist, which I mean, again, it's not a bad thing, but I do feel like they're drifting further and further away from Dragon Age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is such a fucking elitist thing for me to say on this podcast.
No, but it'll be funny when Elder Scrolls finally does come out, and they just, it's like, oh wow, it's a visual novel now. Like, it's
right. I spent 6 months ripping it to shreds.
Yeah.
Because it's not the Skyrim I grew up with.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be exactly like that. Oh, shit. All right. The last game that I'm going to talk about today. This comes as much of a shock to you as it does to me, but it's a fucking Warhammer 40k game called Rogue Trader.
Yeah, genuinely was. We've spent not an insignificant time on this podcast kind of talking shit on that franchise as a whole, or like speculating why they even exist still. And
yeah,
here we are in the dark times.
Yep. So the reason that I got it was, well, first off, Aaron, friend of the show, recommended it as a good like party builder RPG that's not set in a fantasy setting, and to some extent the Warhammer universe does have some like fantasy elements to it. I mean, Warhammer itself is a fantasy setting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Warhammer 40k is like the kind of sci-fi successor to it, set in the far-flung future. But there are still like orcs and shit in 40k. There aren't any orcs so far in this game that I'm playing, but it's very, very deep. And it's made by the same people who made that Pathfinder game that I had a lot of fun playing, and still have a lot of fun playing. It's Owlcat Games is the name of that studio. But I really like the way, like, their interpretation of like what party-based RPGs should look like and play like, and like how closely it relates to like the tabletop experience. So I really enjoy their kind of take on that, and so I'm fucking 40 hours deep in this Warhammer 40k game. It's okay. anything that you have to do that you hate while you're doing it, and then at the end of it you look back and you're like, that was a great time.
So begrudgingly,
That's
basically.
yeah, so the lore of Warhammer 40K, I'm not in love with. The basically like my biggest gripes with the setting is that humanity exists in kind of like this harmonious, and use the word harmonious loosely, like collective empire because of a religious order, which fuck that noise. Also, there's like baked in xenophobia
Yeah.
in every aspect of that shit, which then extends to the mutants who can look into and to some extent control the warp and use magic, right? Just using the word mutants to refer to those people like doesn't feel good, and I fucking half my party is like dogmatic characters, which means that they are hopelessly devoted to this religious emperor, right?
Yeah.
Even though the particular setting of this game is like beyond that empire and kind of like warlord style kingdom building, I would say, because that is an aspect of this game, is to build your trade empire. But anyway, I've sunk about 40 hours into it, and basically the biggest reason why I wanted to play it and why I picked it up in the first place was because it is D&D with a gun.
Yeah,
and
essentially.
That's what I that's kind of my niche, is D&D with a gun. So that's where we're at. I'm constantly pissing off Abelard and Argenta, I think are their names. They're like the super religious members of my party. And I'm just like, let's pick up every single person who has looked into the rift and makes you uncomfortable.
Does
and
it
let's
do
just
that, like, so-and-so will remember that kind of a thing?
I mean, not in so many words, but there's definitely like, if either one of them hates me enough, they will leave my ship.
They won't renegotiate their contract?
They correct. They'll Morgan Frost me.
That's right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that's the big game that I've been playing this month.
Right on.
Is Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader.
Wild.
And despite my distaste for the setting and the belief systems held by many of the characters of the game, I would recommend picking it up if you like D&D with a gun. So
I mean, we sort of went through that with oh god, what was that one game? The one where like it had a bunch of other dogmatic issues. The one with the plague and
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
What the fuck is the name of that game? They just came out with a sequel.
Yeah.
Greedfall. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, yes. With the tri-corner hats.
Yeah, the less stealthy Dishonored clone, I would say.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Maybe not clone, little brother, perhaps. But yeah, that's what I've been playing most this month. Last 2 months, I guess. What about you, Dan? What have you been playing?
Okay, so quick update on my Yakuza progression. I have now beaten Kiwami 1 and 2, which are the remasters of the first two games. 2 ends in such a weird way where they like act like you might have blown up and died on the top of the Millennium Tower. And then they have a post-credit scene where he's just like, oh yeah, man, it's crazy. That bomb wasn't even armed, essentially. So weird.
Okay.
I have started Yakuza 3, and I have deemed it nigh unplayable. It is real rough. So in Kiwami 2, they used the engine that they built for Yakuza 6, which was like PlayStation 4, like much more updated. It took some getting used to going from Kiwami 1 and 2 because it was like so much more polished that it almost felt weird. Now I'm back to like PlayStation 3 graphics and gameplay in 3 because they put out a remaster, but it was just kind of like cleaning it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it is rough stuff. It is apparently universally the most hated of the Yakuza franchise. So I am probably going to skip it entirely. I'm just going to watch like a YouTube breakdown of the plot of it, so I don't miss anything, and just move right on to 4.
Sure.
The big problem I'm going to have in the next month is Yakuza Pirates in Hawaii comes out by the time we record next, and I have to decide if I'm going to just barrel through 4, 5, and 6 before that, or if I jump back and forth. But
yeah,
I'll keep everybody posted. We're gonna get through this. It's just 3. There are rumors that they're going to be making a Kiwami 3, but until that happens, I don't think I can stomach this game. It's just so bad. Even the minigame stuff is like real fucking rough. So yeah, that's. So I've taken a pause from Yakuza for a little bit.
Sure.
So I played a bunch of other games. I tried some things out. I tried a game called Clash Artifact of Chaos, which I may get back into, but I shared with you in the month that we didn't record, like when we had just meetings and whatever. It is the ugliest protagonist I've ever seen in any video game ever. The art style is fucking wild, Shea. It's you know the Abe's Odyssey games?
I am vaguely familiar.
Oddworld.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's uglier than that, in my opinion. Like, every character is uglier than that. It's like a Henson acid trip. It is wild what they made these characters look like.
Ugh.
The gameplay is really odd because it's like an action RPG thing. Mm-hmm. You fall asleep and you wake up as a wooden figurine of yourself that has like different abilities. There's a weird dice. Yeah, right. There's a weird like dice roll thing for this like specific combat type. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot going on, and I did not have the patience for it. So I was like, let's slow this down. Let's try something totally different. So I tried a game called Killer Frequency.
Okay.
Killer Frequency is a game that is a first-person perspective of a radio DJ who
why not
is fielding calls from 911 because the 911 operator in the area, there is only one of them, encountered a serial killer who was supposedly dead 50 years ago and found like the sheriff dead. So they're like, I gotta go take the deputy to another place. You gotta field all the calls. And so as this radio DJ...
Sure.
I don't know what it is. It's a little bit visual novel-y in that I don't think there's, at least in the parts I've played so far, I don't think there's any actual action sequences. You just make decisions and try to direct people to safety. So you're essentially just a 911 operator. It's 911 operator the game, but you can also play music, I guess. And you have a soundboard.
Do you know what's fun?
What's that?
They also made a game called 911 Operator Simulator or something like that.
I'm fucking sure they did.
That game exists.
Yeah, there's a simulator for just about everything at this point.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah. Look, it's a very interesting idea for a game. I don't know what the point is just yet. Like, I might have to play it more to actually figure that out. And I'm deciding whether or not I have the patience to do that. I was playing it with Kit, and it's when you take all of the horror elements out of a horror game, like where you're not directly facing any of it, it's really weird. Like, you're passively watching, like passively playing passive events. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, so the 911 operator who called into the radio station to be like, hey, need your help. They're like, oh my God, the killer's like right outside the door. And then you have to tell them, okay, grab a baseball bat, grab a, see if the dead sheriff has a gun, or grab mace. And their survival is dependent on what you choose. It's real weird.
You only escape if you use the mace, right?
You know, I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, just real quick.
Yeah.
Clash Artifacts of Chaos is the third game in that series is how I'm going to phrase that, because the third game seems to be completely unrelated to the first two.
Correct.
The protagonist from the first two games, do you think he looks like a Power Rangers villain of a thumb person that's come to life?
Is it
Like he does
is
in
it
the
the
third
same?
one?
No, I don't know. I
No,
know it's
you're just a guy.
just the regular
You're just
dude.
a guy in the
Love
first two games.
Love it.
I don't know where this like thumb butthole guy came from for the third one. But anyway, I'm sorry, we're not talking.
No,
about
you're
that
fine. Dude, I don't know. I don't know what this game is. I don't know what either of these games are. So I'm going to talk about the one game that I actually spent like a decent amount of time on now.
Sure.
I played a game called Skull, the Hero Slayer. That's Skull with one L. And it is a combination of a bunch of things that you like and a bunch of things you hate, Shay.
Tell me
it
more.
Is yes. So it is a
Yep. I see it now.
okay. At first glance, what do you hate?
Looks like it's got a lot of platforming and twitchy elements to it.
Little bit. So
yeah.
And pixel graphics for sure.
Oh yeah.
Not harsh pixel graphics, but like definitely like SNES era, give or take.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it is a side-scrolling platformer roguelike.
Oh, no.
Procedurally generated.
Nope.
RPG.
Okay.
So this is if you took any side-scrolling platform, whatever, but you added every element of Enter the Gungeon. That is basically what this game is. You have to start from the beginning every time. So any bosses that you encountered, you have to fight again.
Oh, Jesus. So it's Broforce? Is that...
No, Broforce was you could pick it up and whatever. I mean, but yes.
that's true. Yeah.
As you progress, you level up specific skills or whatever, or you rescue other... so humans are the end-all be-all enemies in this, which is... I like
Correct.
well, for sure true, but also I like when games do that, like where you're a coalition of mythical things that we would normally look at as enemies in most video games. Those are the protags.
Yep.
Fuck humans. So like you come across other fantasy creatures or demon-y types that are locked up in cages. You rescue them, and then they start back at your castle at the beginning of every run, and they give you like specific power-ups.
So this is really kind of almost more like Hades, right?
Yes, actually. In the way the roguelike itself is structured, it is very like Hades. One of the really cool things about and actually the sort of like artifact pickup system thing in Hades, very similar as well. Like at the end of each room, you decide what path you want to take. Like it doesn't have the nice map structure that Hades does, but like it'll be one or two doors, and you know what lies at the end of each one of those next rooms based on what type of door it is. So it could be like a treasure, it could be just like gold, or they have as a built-in structure for this game, you can pick up skulls to replace your own, which then affect your powers and abilities.
I love that, actually.
Oh, so cool. The only problem is it's randomized, and you lose everything practically when you die. And you die a fucking
quite a bit.
lot. It is so hard. Like, I've beaten the first like main boss only about 3 times. I've done 40 runs or more. I die in just the regular stages a whole lot because it's randomized. Like, so now I have a dude in the castle that gives me a skull right at the beginning of the run, but also randomized. So I might get like a dog shit one, like a guy that just holds a pike. The best one so far has been essentially the Marvel character Ghost Rider.
Okay.
You get a motorcycle helmet and you have chains, and one of the power-ups is you just jump on a flaming motorcycle and just rush around the stage. It's great. But the very first like actual boss, you can see it in the screenshot there it's one of the first pictures that come up when you Google it, is that giant ent, like it just named Idrisil.
Yeah.
It's a 2-stage boss. The first like real boss is a 2-stage boss. They have mini bosses, which are just like random D&D type character builds. Like there's a warrior, a mage, a ranger, and like that'll be just get through this part. And like I've not passed the mini boss section in the second area because they take 2 of those dudes and make you fight both of them at once. And it is fucking rough.
Yeah.
It is so much fun, but it is so goddamn frustrating. Like, I will continue to play this. I think it's a really cool idea. I played Enter the Gungeon a little bit just because I was stressed out, and it has become such a comfort food type game for me.
Sure.
And this kind of fits.
Is this supposed to be the guy from Undertale?
Really looks like him. Like, right? Fully looks Papyrus? Like Sans. Actually, kind of a combination of Sans and Papyrus. Yeah.
Sans.
Stature-wise. Yes. But he's dressed more like Papyrus than he's dressed like Sans. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first thing you do is rescue a witch, and that witch is the person that upgrades your powers and stuff. Like you get like experience crystals essentially that you can spend when you die and go back to the castle to boost like HP or strength or magic, whatever, yada yada. But like it jumps so wildly from like 10 to 50 to 700. It's really fun. It feels so much like Gungeon because of you just have to kind of learn how everything behaves. You know what I mean? Like once you figure out like, okay, this enemy does these specific attacks, I know to avoid it this way. I know that in the run up to it, like I want to focus on building up this specific type of thing with the artifacts. Like I want to boost my defense with these things. There's only a handful of slots for each of the artifacts, so you have to like after a while decide which ones you're going to sacrifice or swap out, which kind of sucks, but it's really good. I'm a big fan so far. Kind of in terms of the ratings for these, which like we never really gave a shit about, it's rated really highly, like kind of across the board by just the community in general right now. Like it's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, which Steam can be pretty brutal when it comes to those kind of things. And I don't know if it's just a smaller subsect of people are playing it, and it's just diehard weirdos like me who just love indie games and will try just about anything. But yeah, huge fan so far.
Just wait till they find out one of the characters is gay, and it'll get review bombed.
Yeah. Wait, they put a woman in this?
I don't need that shit shoved down my throat.
Oh, the woke agenda. God damn it. Well, on that fucking note, we're I don't know if we've mentioned this before, but we're launching a new podcast very, very shortly. It is full of the woke agenda.
Yeah, only woke agenda. In fact, it's called Woke Agenda.
Yep, Woke Agenda RPG, TTRPG. So we do have some specific news. We're kind of kidding. Watch this space, because in the next couple weeks, we should have a trailer for our TTRPG podcast, which we'll be launching with a couple of our friends. Shea, do you want to tell the listener a little bit more about what they have in store?
I'd love to, Dan. So on February 15th, I'm calling our shot now.
Oh boy.
We've never been good at this before. We've never been good at this before, but we've got somebody else editing, so... We've got somebody else editing, so I feel pretty confident that we can actually hit a deadline.
Thanks, Will.
Our friend of the show, Will, is doing the editing for this one, so I feel pretty good about us getting it out on time. But anyway, on February 15th, we will be dropping the trailer for our TTRPG Actual Play podcast, the name for which is still a matter of debate. But on the third Saturday of every month, starting March of this year, in that podcast, Dan and I, as well as my sibling Bev, and a friend of the show, Aaron, and our editor and also friend of the show, Will be playing a game of Delvebound, which is a tabletop RPG crafted by Michael Benar and a whole host of other community creators, which is Delvebound is basically a reskin of the D&D 5th edition set in the Elder Scrolls universe. So, I mean, it couldn't have been titled any better. You heard how many times I fucking bought Skyrim. So this is this is the system made specifically for me. So I will be I'm running the campaign. We've had a lot of good sessions so far. It's a good mix of silliness and I don't want to say high stakes, but like middling stakes.
Yeah.
But it is a good mix of humor and adventure, and I'm very excited to get that out to you guys. We've kind of teased it for a while, but we have a release date on the horizon. And what that release date is the third Saturday in March 2025 or later. So keep an eye out for that, but the trailer will be dropping probably 2 weeks after this episode comes out. So if you're listening to this on release day, mark your calendars, February 15th, 2025, for us to underdeliver.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to releasing this. We have been talking about it for a while. I know some might even have thought that we were making it up, and you wouldn't be blamed for that, but it is actually coming out.
Yeah.
We have had a lot of fun. There's so much cool character stuff that we've been building on, just interpersonally, that I'm really excited to share with everyone. So that is absolutely coming soon. But that will just about do it for us today. As always, you can follow us on social media. We are now on Blue Sky, and we will possibly, I think we're keeping Instagram, perhaps, because that's just the art and stuff, but I think for our cheap code, which is sales on games that you should be aware of, I think we're going to be doing that on Blue Sky now. We're just not really into the whole fascist social media stuff if we can avoid it. So we might be jumping ship on Facebook as well. So go ahead and follow us on Blue Sky. We are Broke End Gaming on Blue Sky. Is there an actual URL I should be?
It's brokengamingpod.bsky.social.
There we go.
Yep. It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it's way harder to say, but it's worth it because less Nazis on there so far.
Yeah.
Nah, from everything I understand about Blue Sky, and I do feel like I should port everything over eventually, that I just do in my regular everyday social media-ing. They're really good about, if you report somebody, they fucking respond. Can I tell a quick story about why I hate Facebook? And it's not fascist related. My 90-year-old aunt recently was posting a guy's name in the way that, you know how old people will sometimes think they're Googling and they're actually posting? Like that kind of thing. It was like that.
Sure.
She was being catfished, and I caught it, and I called her, and there were two different profiles. I immediately was able to, image Google search the person's profile picture. Apparently it's this Turkish journalist that a bunch of people are using his photo for catfishing scams. But then there was a second one of another guy whose Instagram page I found, a Canadian engineer. Anyway, reported both of these pages, and Facebook said, yeah, we're not going to do anything about that. This all seems legit to us. So everything's going great on Facebook. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. It took me all of 35 seconds to find out that this person was not real, and Facebook can't fucking be bothered. So I don't know what to tell you. Blue Sky, baby.
That's where we hope that it's at.
Yeah. We'll have a TikTok. I don't know. Fuck it. I don't give a shit about anything.
Man, can you imagine two people less suited to run a TikTok than you?
Honest to God, man. We need to become successful enough where we have social media managers and we don't have to worry about any of this stuff.
Right.
We could just cut to somebody named Caleb who will do all this stuff for us.
Yeah.
That sounds like a social media manager's name, right? Caleb?
Yeah, and they're non-binary because we only run with the woke agenda.
1000% true. Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to follow us on Twitch, where I promise at some point in the near future, or maybe the future, or later, I will get back into streaming. You can do that on twitch.tv/BNG podcast. And then if you'd like to catch up on all of the streams that I've done in the past, as well as the episodes that we've put out since last summer, you can do that over on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@BrokeNGamingPodcast.
If you'd like to send us an email for any reason, you can do so at brokengamingpod@gmail.com. We take game suggestions if you just think that there's something we'd be interested in based on our very specific tastes about certain things, which just becomes more and more apparent with each episode. I do want to say, we ended our last episode with just this is going to be a rough year, and we've now been proven how rough of a year it's going to be for a lot of us. Just do your best to stay safe, stay sane, take care of each other. We love you very much. For anybody who's listening, genuinely, we do this because it's a great way for Shea and I to keep in touch. But if this brings anybody any sort of joy, we just appreciate you listening. And I wish things were better, and I hope they will be. All we have is each other at this point. So thank you, Shea, for continuing to do this with me. Now in 2 different ways with the new one coming out. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, man, it's fucking tough out there. Just take care of each other. Find joy where you can, because it's going to be hard to get for a little while.
Yeah.
And if that joy is here, we appreciate you, and we will continue making it until the joy stops. But until then, goodbye absolutely everyone.